Untold Brain Feed presents Core Beliefs That Making You Unhappy. Welcome back to the channel. Many of us feel deep down that we aren't as happy as we could be, and the following are some reasons why we feel like we're stuck in a life we don't like. Why we regret our past mistakes and don't know how to move on. Why we fear what the future holds and feel overwhelmed by all the stress. It is unfortunate that simply grasping the idea that you are unhappy isn't enough to move on with your life. In order to make a positive change, you have to understand what is causing your unhappiness. A therapist has given me some insights into the basic patterns that cause people to feel unhappy, even though I don't claim to understand everyone's unhappiness. However, it is not always easy to see these patterns because they exist at a level that is barely conscious, the level of core beliefs that we hold dear to us. The core beliefs we hold are the instructions or rules that govern the way we live our lives. There are a lot of weaknesses we develop in our childhood that are never identified or updated, which means we carry the baggage of all those weaknesses into adulthood with us, along with the emotional baggage that goes along with them. There are a number of core beliefs found in many people, which can largely be attributed to their unhappiness. If you can learn to identify these beliefs in your own life, it is possible to find a level of happiness you may have never even imagined possible. I will now introduce you to the most common core beliefs that are associated with unhappiness in many people. Number 1. We need significant mental strength to do difficult activities. It's funny how motivation works. When you're motivated, when you're excited, energized, and really feeling it, it's as if you are not limited by anything that you can accomplish. When you are unmotivated, when you're feeling sluggish, lazy, and apathetic, it's almost as if it's impossible for you to accomplish anything. Getting up in the morning feels like an insurmountable challenge. Learning the guitar is a dream that should have been abandoned long ago. And as for my relationship with my wife, what's the point? It's always going to be this way. There is no denying that motivation is an extremely powerful tool that can be used to push us beyond our wildest dreams and can discourage us from taking even the tiniest step toward them when it is absent. The truth is that most people don't know this little secret, and it's a good one. It is critical to understand that the problem you are facing with your motivation is not a problem with motivation, but rather with your beliefs about motivation. Motivation is something that most people believe is a gift. Motivating others is a gift that the universe gives from time to time, but most times it withholds from us. People believe that if they had motivation, they would be capable of great things. But if they do not have it, they are destined for mediocrity or failure. There are times when we do feel motivated and are motivated to take difficult action, but this is only part of the story, as motivation is only a part of what motivates us in the first place. Motivation and action have a two-way relationship. When you feel good, you will be more likely to try hard things, and when you do hard things, you will feel good too, but the relationship is one way. Those who are happy and believe that motivation is both built and bestowed, that it is an essentially personal characteristic they have a great deal of control over. From losing weight to building a fulfilling marriage, they know that the best way to achieve their most important goals and aspirations is to create a steady flow of motivation for themselves by doing difficult but meaningful things, regardless of how they feel at the time. You're probably thinking to yourself right now as you're watching the video, it may seem like a nice idea, and in a way, it might be true, but right now in the moment, it's just too difficult. When I tell my body we're going running this morning, my body says, like hell we are, and starts to roll back in bed. You know what I mean? Understanding all of this is not going to make a difference to anything. And the reason for that is the fact that changing your core belief about the nature of motivation is not fundamentally an intellectual issue. It's something you have to go through emotionally and personally. If you want to learn how to accomplish difficult tasks without feeling motivated, you need to prove yourself that it can be done. Just like any difficult challenge, you need to start small and build up over time, gradually developing your confidence as you go along. To give you an example, here is what I mean. The reason happy people are happy is precisely because they believe that motivation follows action, not the other way around. They set challenging goals and work towards them regardless of how they feel. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to learn how to build your own motivation. Take action to make your life happier. Number 2. You need to be strict with yourself to be successful. The drill sergeant theory of motivation is a theory of motivation that many people believe in. A person should be able to be tough on themselves if they are to achieve anything meaningful in life, whether it's good grades or winning championships in football. And typically, this takes the form of harsh self-talk aimed at punishing oneself. After receiving an A grade on a test instead of an A+ you expected, you kicked yourself. I should have spent more time studying. I'm such a loser. I might as well give up now. While preparing for an interview for a new job, you told yourself, you better be perfect. This job only comes around once in a blue moon. If you mess this up, you're screwed. After a tough day with your kids, you started berating yourself for being a bad mother. Why aren't you more patient with your children? If you were a better parent, they probably wouldn't act up as much, and all of this would be a lot easier. As long as your belief is that the only way to succeed is to be tough on yourself, you may easily fall into the habit of negative self-talk, which can lead to depression, anxiety, and misery due to all the stress and hardship it can cause. There's one thing, though, that I'd like to draw your attention to. In spite of their negative self-talk, successful people are successful because of their positive self-talk. As a psychotherapist, I have spent a lot of my career working with high-achieving individuals who are unfailingly convinced that if they don't be hard on themselves, they may lose their edge and they will be unable to pursue their goals. This belief, however, comes at a steep price. It drives them into a near-constant state of anxiety as they are reminded that they are not good enough and do not work hard enough to earn their success, and this causes them to feel overburdened with anxiety. This is the same solution I suggest for these people as well. I encourage them to start experimenting in small steps at first, with giving up the belief that if they don't be hard on themselves, they won't achieve success and achieve their goals. It is striking to see the results that have been obtained. In my observation, I have never seen a situation where someone has actually performed worse as a result of stopping to beat themselves up. A vast majority of the time, they are actually able to improve their performance and their happiness, dramatically following this procedure. Their fear of losing their edge is not only unfounded, but they realize that because they aren't stuck under the weight of chronic self-judgment, they can actually carry a great deal more energy and enthusiasm into their work and into their lives. In order to change your core belief about success, as is true of all core beliefs, you need to show yourself that the inner drill sergeant you have within you won't hinder your success. For example, in order to change your core belief about success, you need to prove to yourself that it won't be impossible for you to succeed without it. The fact is, for many people, to put his or her personal belief in the background and honestly strive for success without it is an extremely frightening idea. Because for years, this core belief has served as a kind of safety blanket, suppressed their fears of failure or not being good enough. It takes an enormous amount of courage to stand up and really try. There is also a need to develop courage gradually and over time over the course of your life. Start by starting small. Try to think of little experiments that you might be able to run. This idea will succeed without all the negative self-talk and judgment you have on yourself. Suppose you decide to attend the weekly sales meeting without any of your usual pep talking on Monday morning and see how it goes. A sign of emotional maturity is the ability to let go of old habits that no longer serve us well, regardless of how much we may have thought we needed them as children, and letting them go is a sign of emotional maturity. The key to finding happiness in your life is to let go of the belief that you must be hard on yourself in order to succeed, and you won't find it difficult to do so. Number 3. I need to be aware of my surroundings to be loved. This belief may well be the most tragic, and possibly the most prevalent, of all the destructive core beliefs that hold us back from happiness. As living in a culture that is based on achievement, it has a serious psychological side effect that most of us don't take into account. We tend to equate our self-worth with our success, especially our perceived success in material terms as defined by others. The message that hard work pays off and that success will lead to happiness is drilled into us from an early age. The people around us are urging us, whether it is our family members, our teachers, our friends, or our mentors, to go to the right schools and to pursue the right career in order to be successful and happy in the future. I think that one of the problems with this message is that it encourages us to internalize it into meaning that we are only worth loving and worth being loved if we succeed. The desire to succeed is a worthy goal, but to believe that happiness can only be experienced after success is a deeply erroneous one. The idea that you are only worthwhile if you succeed in your endeavors is a truly tragic way to live your life, and it is a very cruel one to live. There are many people in my clinical practice who believe being successful is the only way to be lovable and happy. If they believe becoming successful is the only way to be successful. Even though many people think that being a neurosurgeon is impressive, it doesn't make you very happy if you hate it. Certainly, achievement plays a role in our happiness and self-worth, but it is risky to rely solely on it as a source of self-worth and happiness. When you depend solely on achievement for your self-worth and happiness, you are losing the opportunity to develop other sources of self-worth that will make you feel stronger. In order to find a solution, you need to diversify your identity rather than stop working hard. As long as you diversify your investments, you won't need to spend all of your retirement savings on a single stock, because if the company fails, then all of your retirement savings are gone too. Instead, you should invest in bonds, index funds, real estate, private businesses, and so on. When we have an identity that's nourished and sustained by a variety of streams of income, we are more likely to be happy and fulfilled. And while your success or performance in your work might be one of your most valuable sources of identity income, try not to let it be the only source. Nurture your relationships with friends and family. Pursue a hobby or passion. Do good for others. Join an organization or movement. Self-worth has limitless possibilities, and the only thing we have to lose by not exploring these possibilities is the loss of self-worth. What do you think about this video? Whatever it is, let me know in the comment box. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.